Footage has resurfaced of Will Smith participating in a video invitation to Sean Diddy Combs' 29th birthday party, and after everything that has come out about Diddy events, people are wondering just how involved Smith was in the party's activities. We'll get into this and more today in new leaked party footage of Diddy and Will Smith changes everything. In the modern day, Page 6 is the celebrity news site that got their hands on a VHS tape. That is how old this invite is, a VHS tape of the invitation. It's a whole bunch of famous celebrities, including Oprah, Ellen, Ben Stiller, Chris Rock, and more, inviting the recipient to an exclusive Diddy bash. In this section posted to Page 6's YouTube channel, Will Smith has a featured moment saying, "You are cordially invited to celebrate the birth of P. Diddy." No expense appears to be spared. In addition to the celebrity cameos, Page 6 reports that at the time, the VHS invite would have been delivered in a black velvet pouch embroidered with the birthday gala and the date of the event, November 4th, 1998. TSG.com actually leaked this birthday invitation and location 2 days before the bash was set to happen. Because this was 1998 though when it leaked, their servers couldn't handle posting the video all at once, so it was only released in roughly 10 to 20 second chunks. And get this, barely anyone has watched these videos. Of the 5 parts, the one with the most views has 157, so it's kind of like you're the first to hear about this decades-old drama. Anyway, the footage is causing a stir because over the past year, Diddy has been hit with many lawsuits accusing the rapper of physically engaging with individuals without consent, forcing people to perform acts or consume things they do not want to, invading privacy, and generally being a bad guy and more. Some of these acts he was committing were done in private. Security footage viral earlier this year of an altercation between Diddy and a past partner of his, in which he was physically rough with her in a deserted hotel hallway. But that doesn't mean untoward things didn't take place in public. A term you are probably hearing a lot when it comes to this situation is freak off. These were parties hosted by Diddy in which all parties present would engage with each other, allegedly, not always consensually, and allegedly Diddy would film the events. Many people with suits open against the disgraced rapper who claim to have been involved in these freak-offs say they did not want to be there. However, Diddy's lawyer claims that it was all consensual. The freak-offs part of this scandal is causing problems for many of Hollywood's most famous, as it has become a thing to assume that if someone was spotted at a Diddy party, any Diddy party, then they engaged in a freak-off. That's why all the celebrities in that VHS invite that were so excited to invite people to the birthday party are now being looked at more closely. However, it is worth noting that just because someone attended a Diddy bash doesn't mean they engaged in untoward activities. Freak-offs are commonly reported to have either been planned well in advance with hotels rented and people organized, or that they were a result of late-night partying, so the after party for an event might have turned into a freak-off. Many news publications report that by the time the evening would get to freak-off status, most of the big-name celebrities would have left. Like in the case of Sean Diddy Combs' 2005 VMAs after party. This was attended by stars like Paris Hilton, Eva Longoria, and more. According to the US Sun, as the party switched from a nightclub to Diddy's mansion in the early morning, the big names had long departed the event, and well in his home, the festivities had descended into a freak-off. Footage from the later half of the party allegedly shows Diddy wearing the same outfit he had been in at the VMA party pics. That's how the two situations were connected. But sometimes, even if it's unknown if a party later became a freak-off, that doesn't mean odd things didn't happen. Smith attended and was likewise photographed at a 2004 Diddy party. Now this party in particular, from the photos Smith is in, it doesn't look too strange, a regular party setting. However, other photos that appear to be taken from the same evening show the less family-friendly side of the event. In one photo, you can see an unclothed woman lying on a table surrounded by and with food on top of her body. She has a leaf to protect her lower half, however she is exposed everywhere else. One picture shows Combs standing over that woman and staring down at her while eating what appears to be a chocolate strawberry. The woman is surrounded by chocolate strawberries, grapes, candles, and other food items. The act of eating off an unclothed woman is actually a known Japanese practice that some would consider an art, but was outlawed in China in 2005 after it was deemed a public health concern and morally wrong. Despite the photos from this particular party being available for decades, people are now just starting to analyze them due to all the accusations against Combs. Technically, Diddy was enjoying a Japanese practice, but his past inappropriate actions have made people wonder if the woman on the table was as willing a participant or forced to be there. Again, due to Combs wearing the same outfits in photos with the woman and then later with Will Smith. It appears Smith was in attendance at this particular party. Will Smith and Combs are only pictured talking to one another. It's unclear if Smith also visited that table with the woman or kept his distance. Another example of a Diddy party with freaky elements would be his November 2004 birthday bash. The room was lined with raised levels with curtains at the back, so if guests didn't want to be on the dance floor, they could watch from above, which is admittedly not odd. The weird part came later. As the night went on, the curtains were drawn back to reveal beds, booths, and water-filled porcelain bathtubs. The article also states that screens started displaying the text King Diddy. The booths would be standard for a party setting, but the beds and bathtubs, we don't need that. Now that the public is aware of Diddy's disturbing activities behind closed doors, it makes the inclusion of the beds and baths so much worse. The article goes on to confirm that in addition to the famous individuals at the party, it was also attended by performers like acrobats, go-go dancers, and those in other similar lines of work. This article does not touch on if the bathtubs or the beds were used for anything other than a break from tearing up the dance floor. While the VHS invitation is certainly extravagant, it's not the only time Diddy has sent invites as fancy as his events. For his 2002 VMAs after party, the rapper sent out old-timey looking invitations accompanied by, literally, a golden ticket. The golden ticket had all the party details, whereas the paper contained the dress code and other event rules. The men were required to have a clean-shaven haircut. The women also needed to have fancy hair, but also mani-pedis and to be waxed. And everyone had to be dressed up. He specifically called for top designers to be worn, like Gucci, YSL, you get the picture. All in all, little is known about this exclusive event, but the end of the invite features a line that is so much worse with the present-day context added to it. Don't disturb the fancy. Sure, this could mean just show up looking your best so you don't stand out among the other fancy people, but after learning about the beds from a later party, the women on the table, and the freak-offs, it reads as much, much weirder. But the big question, is this invitation real? No idea. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend at the time because I was probably off somewhere learning to walk. Nowadays, as I search for a source, the party was so long ago that there really isn't much. Plus, an invite like this would be really hard to get your hands on. Other than TSG.com, one other news site posted the invite, this time featuring that golden ticket and envelopes. There is a chance that it is in fact real. Either way, the party happened, and if the don't disturb the activities is as weird as it sounds today, then we don't really have to wonder if some untoward things happened at this extravagant affair. But to bring it back as to why you probably clicked this video, the connection between Diddy and Will Smith. Their history includes more than just partying. A rumor made its rounds that while Diddy was dating J-Lo back in the late 90s, early 2000s, Will Smith and his wife had propositioned the Jenny from the Block singer with an invitation to join them in bed. Allegedly, Diddy wasn't too happy with that and threatened to attack Smith, a wild rumor that found its way into a more recent segment of Jimmy Kimmel Live. Never one to shy away from anything, Kimmel straight up asked the rapper if this was true. At first, the music artist made absolutely no movements. He looked very serious, eventually breaking to respond with, "You really heard that?" and laughed the whole thing off, claiming he didn't know what Kimmel was talking about. The talk show host played into the bit, making a remark about how one can't believe everything they read on the internet. Even if the rumor proved to be true, Smith and Combs must have worked it out, considering they were pictured at multiple events together in later years, including the premiere of Hancock in 2008. Yes, plus, in a wild turn of fate, Diddy happened to be the person speaking next at the Oscars the year Will Smith rocked Chris Rock live on television. After the moment, Diddy had come out on stage and said, "I did not know that this year was going to be the most exciting Oscars ever. Okay, Will and Chris, we're going to solve that like family at the gold party, okay? But right now, we are moving on with love." P. Diddy was also one of the first to jump to Smith's defense after that incident. But funny enough, Chris Rock was also heavily featured in that VHS birthday invite we kicked this video off with. It's a small world up there in Hollywood.
Diddy will be in jail for a very long time for the crimes he committed at his infamous parties. But now, with photos and videos being leaked of the big bashes, some celebrities are scared as they could be implicated with his crimes. Now, since Diddy's arrest, various photos and videos have been leaked and have resurfaced, and celebs are panicking over it. Now starting off, there's Ashton Kutcher. Now past footage of him at one of Diddy's white parties having a good time on a swing has been going around. Also photos of him and his then wife Demi Moore have resurfaced. With this, people have looked more into Ashton and Diddy's past friendship, and it's honestly concerning. Ashton was actually really close with Diddy, and he once said, "If you're a single man, there's probably no greater human being in the world to hang out with. This is 20 years ago, 19 years ago. We were having a lot of fun together." Then, concerning footage of Ashton not being able to name an appropriate favorite Diddy party memory surfaced. While appearing on Hot Ones, host Sean Evans asked Ashton for his favorite memory at a Diddy party, but Ashton said, "I've got a lot I can't tell." He laughed and said, "I can't tell that one either." So if he can't tell those stories, how bad were they? But it's said that Ashton himself is worried about what could happen with this whole Diddy situation. An insider source revealed that Ashton absolutely regrets his friendship with Diddy, considering what has happened. He feels lied to, betrayed, taken for granted, and manipulated. Everyone who is close to Diddy fears the possibility of Diddy making up false allegations to clear his own name. Although Kutcher is frightened by the prospect of being involved in the case, he is also prepared to completely cooperate with authorities because he has nothing to hide. Now in the past, Diddy once named Leo as the #1 person on his white party invitation list, which raises some eyebrows. I mean, you don't just say that. Now people have been looking at Leo strange, but a source close to Leo says that he's not been in contact with Diddy for years, saying he never attended freak-offs and has nothing to do with the case. Now the pair were last seen together in 2019 when Leo attended Diddy's 50th birthday party. But a source went on to say, Leonardo DiCaprio has absolutely nothing to do with any of this. He attended a few of his parties back in the early 2000s, but literally everyone did. They were not freak-offs, they were big house parties. Leo was at the start of his career at the time and has moved way past his partying. He has nothing to do with any of that world, so for anyone to assume that he will get roped into this based on a few grainy photos that are more than 20 years old is ridiculous. Then, of course, there's the Kardashians. Kim and Khloe Kardashian have been spotted at multiple Diddy parties, and in recent years, the whole Kar-Jenner family have been spotted with Diddy. They posted about it on social media, talked about him on their reality shows, and Khloe even had Diddy on as a guest on her show Cocktails with Khloe. Now they have a real deep friendship, but fans noticed that Kim unfollowed Diddy since the raid on his houses. Khloe, though, still has an Instagram photo up of her, Diddy, and her sisters together, and captioned the post, "No party like a Diddy party." Yeah. Then there's the fact that Kris Jenner is dating Corey Gamble, who was good friends with Diddy. An insider said that Corey was aware of Diddy's controversial engagements, and a lot of people believe that Corey must have had some knowledge of what was going on. Now, an insider also noted, though, that he totally denies these allegations. However, it's been said that Kris has already started to plan her family's rescue in case things get dirty for her daughters. It's all very ugly and very embarrassing, and Kris is scrambling to distance them all from this and distract everyone, but that's going to be impossible if they get called to testify. Now, another source said all these years that they bragged about partying with Diddy have of course got everyone assuming that they were somehow involved in these deprived freak-offs. They then asserted that the family had no idea of the sorts of twisted things he was up to after hours. Now, talking to In Touch magazine, the insider continued, Diddy had plenty of glamorous parties over the years that weren't freak-offs, at least not until the early morning hours when the majority of people had left. Now, the insider suggests that Kris is presently scrambling to distance them from all of this, and I can't blame her. Then there's the VHS tape that was recently leaked. Now, a source sent page 6 of VHS tape that was sent out as an invitation to Diddy's 29th birthday in 1998. It begins with the strange home video style skit in which Danny DeVito, lying on a sofa under a blanket, says, "That's right, Puff Daddy is having a party and this is Puff Daddy inviting you to come, let's have a ball." Then a group of celebs take turns reading from a script detailing the date and time, exactly how fabulous and expensive the party will be, and then reading an address to RSVP to. They then said that the venue would be revealed later. Now, this group of celebrities includes Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, Chris Rock, Mariah Carey, Will Smith, and Joan Rivers, to name a few. It's also been said that the whole video is 6 minutes long, but just over a minute of it was posted. Now, what happens in the other 5 minutes of it? No one really knows. People who have seen this, though, claim that the celebs involved in the tape should be looked at as potential accomplices in Diddy's case, as they appear to be good friends with him and have close ties. And hey, I gotta say, I agree with this. I mean, everyone should be looked into, as the crimes Diddy is being accused of are absolutely disgusting, and he clearly was not alone committing them. Now, Ray J, who is friends with Diddy, has spoken out about how some celebrities are paying off their victims when it comes to the freak-offs. Ray J said, "I'm hearing about artists paying victims to keep their names out of it." Now, Tony Busby, the attorney representing more than 120 alleged victims, disclosed that he has sent out demand letters to the celebrities, asking them to pay up or face the consequences. Now, Tony had previously mentioned that investigations into Diddy's case had implicated several Hollywood big shots. He has disclosed that he's now going after other celebrities, though, who attended Diddy's freak-offs, even if they did nothing wrong. In a new appearance on TMZ's documentary, The Downfall of Diddy, Inside the Freak-Offs, Tony claims such big names are as guilty as those who perpetrated the crimes, explaining that their silence and unwillingness to stand against it makes them liable. Now, I wonder if any of the celebrities we mentioned before were sent these letters. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And I mean, in a September 17th letter to a judge arguing for Diddy to be jailed until he is brought to trial, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams claimed that his office has the testimony of dozens of witnesses and victims to his serial mistreatment and evidence from dozens of his own electronic devices and those of his co-conspirators. Investigators have taken in more than 90 cell phones, laptops, cloud storage accounts, as well as at least 30 storage devices. They issued more than 300 grand jury subpoenas to obtain this evidence from communication providers, tech and social media companies, financial institutions, and Diddy's companies. Prosecutors allegedly have dozens of videos depicting Diddy's so-called freak-offs that corroborate witness testimony. So who knows really how many people were involved in all of this.
Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher have become a major part of the media storm this week after their character letters to Danny Masterson were leaked to the public. Danny is on trial for the physical mistreatment of several women, and he had been in custody since May, but he was recently sentenced to 30 years in prison. Even after the slew of evidence and testimonies, Danny and his team have still publicly maintained his innocence. Well, Ashton and Mila were also under that impression when they wrote character letters to the judge overseeing his case, in which they described Danny as a decent man who was generous and kind. Mila chimed in and praised Danny, calling him an outstanding role model and a friend. The letters that were intended solely for the eyes of the judge were leaked into the press. They wrote these letters well after the controversy came to light, so not only were they aware of Danny's possible sentencing, but they still decided to back him up, hence the apology video. Over the weekend, the couple released a video apologizing for the statements they made in their letters that was just the fakest thing that you have ever seen in your life. Now, I'm gonna break it down. It's tea time. First and foremost, Mila is an actress. Between herself and Ashton, it's pretty clear who's the busiest bee in the house. It's Mila. It's also obvious from the way Mila speaks that during the entire apology, it's just all lies. The whole thing is filled with the same old tropes as every other apology video ever put into the world. They understand the pain they've caused, they're sorry for their actions, blah blah blah. But you gotta hand it to these guys, they actually sound like they have their lines down pat. In case it isn't obvious, which come on, it is. They have clearly rehearsed this speech and they've got it down to under a minute. I'm not sure if they wrote it themselves though, because the vocabulary that they use is very advanced. I'm sorry if I don't believe that Jesse from Dude Where's My Car wrote the sentence, "full consideration relative to the sentencing." They actually might not be completely off script, however, because periodically throughout the video you can see them looking off of camera almost like they're reading cue cards on SNL. The video just proved that they had little to no remorse for their actions, believing that they were just trying to help a friend in need. At one point they say they had no intention for the letters that they had written to be seen by anyone other than the judge. So their apology was more of a, oh man, I'm sorry we got caught kind of thing. They're not actually sorry for anything they've said or done, they're just sorry that someone leaked their letters to the press. Like, listen, either apologize for something or don't, because when you try to make the whole justified apology thing, it's just plain rude. Supporting a man who is being accused by several women of something that is truly disturbing is a major red flag in our eyes. Mila looks so done the entire time, and she is overacting with each and every word she says. Meanwhile, Ashton seems just a little bit more calm, cool, and collected, but he really shouldn't be. Supporting Danny, especially when it comes to this situation, makes him look like a massive hypocrite. In case you were unaware, Ashton's been working with a company called Thorn since 2012. The company that he co-founded with Demi Moore that is designed to monitor the activity of underage folks online and prevents any criminal situations from taking place. The company has grown since, and it still works to that goal to this day. Which, like, hey, that is awesome! Keep people safe online, way to go. But how are you gonna create an entire company dedicated to preventing the exact thing that your buddy was arrested for? Ashton has been called out by many fans and victims of violence for his hypocritical actions. There is no word on how his company is handling the situation, but so far it's not looking like they have any reason to fire him just yet. Despite his buddy Danny being charged and sentenced to 30 years, he still seems to be holding back in his apology video. The video is, after all, just like 1 minute long, so we can only imagine how much stuff that this man actually had to say. His letter was very revealing. As I'll get into in a moment, Ashton and Mila have been well aware of Danny's controversy for quite some time, yet when asked to write character witness statements, they leaped at the opportunity to defend him. Both Ashton and Mila have always presented themselves as, calm, cool, and collected people. But between Ashton's humanitarian work and Mila's career in comedy, they seemed like a wholesome Hollywood couple born from controversy. Yeah, Ashton was still married when he started seeing Mila, allegedly. But that's not my point. What we've come to learn in the last few weeks is that this couple may actually be super toxic, rude, and dismissive behind the scenes. There have been reports here and there, but they all run along the same pattern of they're terrible guests and they're always annoyed by everything. In fact, in a recent interview, past Hawk host Sharon Osbourne shared her encounter with Ashton a few years ago. While doing an interview for E!, she told the outlet that the rudest celebrity she had ever met was the guy who married the actress from That 70s Show. When the host confirmed that she meant Ashton Kutcher, she called him a, quote, rude little boy. The hosts were shocked as she went on to call him a dastardly little thing. Like, she's very focused on the little thing. She claimed that Ashton had been a guest when she was still working on The Talk. He had a very bad attitude about everything. She said he was mad from the start and asked Sharon to list her credentials, trying to play the whole "I'm more established than you are, so why am I here" type thing. Sharon, of course, is the Princess of Darkness, being married to rock legend Ozzy Osbourne, so she put Ashton in his place, which he did not like. It would be no surprise to learn that Ashton is a mean man off camera. Think about some of the segments on his prank show Punk'd. "We just towed your car away and now you have to take the bus. Yes, you just got punked." That's a real thing that happened to somebody on camera. Ashton is not the only bad apple in this relationship. Mila is also known for being a pretty rude individual, especially when it comes to interviews. As with many celebrities, she likes to stay busy, but busy for her is acting. It's not talking about real stuff. She is known for being easily annoyed by very simple questions. In fact, when asked how she was feeling in one interview, she responded with, "I don't talk about that for publication." Okay, a simple "I'm good" would have been okay, but whatever. Several interviewers found her to be dismissive, and she very clearly did not want to be there. Same with this apology video. Mila just looks annoyed. She's visibly confused as to why she has to make this video in the first place. Who was it benefiting? Why was it important? Well, lots of people, and for several reasons. They apologize for a lot of things in this video, but as I previously touched on, they don't actually say Danny is a bad guy and we know that now. They apologize for the pain that the words that they've said have caused, claiming the goal was never to denounce the testimonies given in court. For these guys, guys, it was just a letter about their buddy from that 70s show. But let's talk about that 70s show for a moment, because it was not all peaches and cream behind the scenes either. That 70s show was a popular sitcom that helped launch several careers, including Mila, Ashton, and Danny. Danny was of course on this show, but it turns out that the allegations against him dated back to 2004, where they were actually reported, like in 2004. Danny was still on the show when an investigation was taking place. 4 women reported that he had mistreated them physically, prompting local law enforcement to halt production on the show and bring Danny in for questioning. The investigation brought little to no actual evidence to the table, so Danny was let go, and the entire thing was just kind of forgotten about. But that means that Ashton and Mila literally watched this dude go in for questioning and still called him a role model in their character witness letters. It makes no sense. Their jobs were literally stopped while this man was under investigation. And when the charges come up again over 15 years later, they still stick to his side. That 70s show was chock full of issues behind the scenes, because not only was Danny being investigated, but it turned out that Mila lied about her age just to get a role on the show. But she was already so deep into the run that they just didn't want to write her character out. Just imagine if things worked out differently. That 70s show would have just been 2 buddies in a basement hanging out. Just basically the premise of Dude, Where's My Car? Their letter may not have been intended to call the testimonies of the victims into question or whatever, but that's what happened. Plus, yeah, it's definitely what you were trying to do. The media has been covering this situation for a long time. Danny was brought into custody in May, but the allegations were actually brought up as far back as 2017. Between 2017 and now, Ashton and Mila have still decided that this man is a good dude and a role model. I still can't get past that statement. Role model for what, not doing the right thing maybe? Yeah. The apology only makes the entire situation that much worse. The overacting that takes place combined with the obviously fake apology makes them look even worse than they already are. It was just them telling us how sorry they were that things turned out this way. In an alternate universe, the letters made their way to the judge untouched, leaving Ashton and Mila to live in blissful ignorance. Now, there are so many reasons why this apology is meaningless and why it's so obviously a fake move made for like press coverage or something, from the bad acting to the cue cards to the "I'm sorry we got caught" angle.
We have been finding out more and more information about Diddy recently, and somehow Britney Spears has been involved in all of this. Yep, you heard that right, so let's look into her involvement. TriStar Sports and Entertainment Group is the celebrity management firm that previously came under fire for its alleged involvement in Britney Spears' conservatorship battle. Turns out though, they also have a connection to Diddy. The company's founder, president, and CEO is none other than Britney's former business manager, Lou M. Taylor, who she accused of playing a key role in the conservatorship's implementation in 2008. Now, we know that sketchy things were happening with Britney, so who knows what horrible things this group has done in connection to Diddy. Now, Lou actually managed Diddy too, as she confirmed it in 2019. Britney has also previously called out TriStar Services director Robin Greenhill, who was recently mentioned in a civil lawsuit against Diddy by producer Rodney Little Rod Jones. In 2021, it was revealed that Greenhill was in control of Britney's credit cards, medications, and that TriStar had allegedly used Britney's own money to hire a security team to surveil her during her conservatorship, which is honestly just crazy. Now, Britney even spoke out about Greenhill in her memoir, labeling her a weird blank lackey, and accused the pair, along with her own father, Jamie Spears, of bullying her. Now, it was also previously reported by the Los Angeles Times that Britney's legal team was investigating the alleged $18 million that TriStar obtained from her estate over the span of the conservatorship, which was terminated by a judge in November 2021 after 13 years. TriStar, Taylor, and Greenhill have all denied the allegations and have insisted that Britney's conservatorship was put forth by recommendation of legal counsel, not TriStar, and approved by the court for more than 12 years. Now, they mistreated Britney so poorly, and it appears that they helped Diddy cause harms to others. Now, Greenhill's name was back in the press this year after Rodney Lowe Rod Jones filed a $30 million lawsuit against Diddy, claiming that he mistreated and took advantage of him. Now, Rodney also claimed that Diddy made him a witness to multiple crimes against his own will as well. Now, how does this relate to Britney? Well, she accused the company and its founder, her former manager Lou Taylor, of helping create and benefiting from the conservatorship agreement put in place by her father, Jamie Spears, in 2008, which she described as traumatizing in her court statements. Now, Britney claimed that TriStar had received $18 million in the conservatorship arrangement, even though Britney didn't have access to her own earnings. Now, the New York Times reported that Greenhill had been an important agent in the company's interest in the conservatorship by controlling her credit cards and medications well beyond what one would expect a pop star's management company to do. Now, a lot of the company's inner workings for how it manages its accounts are kept under lock and key, the paper reported, with 2 former employees saying they weren't allowed to access basic information like income statements or balance sheets. TriStar first tried to deny it helped originate Britney's conservatorship, which her attorney challenged by presenting the court with an email that showed its reps discussing the arrangement at its origination. The New York Times documentary about Britney's case included allegations that TriStar and Greenhill specifically had operated an elaborate surveillance apparatus to spy on the pop star. But how did this all start? Well, everyone knows about Britney's meltdowns in 2006 and 2007. Now, later, at the beginning of 2008, she was put on a 5150 hold in the hospital. A week after this, she was sent back to the hospital on a 5150 hold again, and her father Jamie was granted temporary conservatorship over the star. Now, soon after the conservatorship was in place, she said her father said, "I just want to let you know, I call the shots. You sit there in that chair and I'll tell you what goes on," she recalled. "I looked at him with a growing sense of horror. I'm Britney Spears now," he said. Now, Britney also spoke out about the 13-year conservatorship, and she hit out at her dad Jamie in the explosive memoir as she opened up about the unrelenting control her family had over her, which, looking back, makes her feel sick. Now, people in Hollywood knew that this was happening but didn't do anything. Finally, in 2019, fans started to realize that something was wrong, and they created the Free Britney movement. Now, with fans backing Britney up, she felt like she finally had a voice and requested the conservatorship to end. Now, she and her father appeared in court multiple times over the year, and on November 12, 2021, the conservatorship was finally over. Now, it seems like TriStar and its employees are always getting in trouble and should honestly be investigated. While Britney is free now, some people don't think she got the justice she deserved. Now that TriStar is intertwined with Diddy, maybe the company and its employees will now be held accountable. Now, Diddy, though, for his part, claims that he's innocent. Now, Diddy is currently awaiting trial at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. He's proposed different bail packages, but they've all been denied. Defense lawyer Alexandra Shapiro asked them to release Diddy on a $50 million bond, which would be backed by his $48 million Miami home and co-signed by several of his family members. Now, she also proposed that Diddy be monitored around the clock by security personnel, be subjected to at-home detention, and have no contact with alleged victims or witnesses. One of the judges who denied this package, Judge Robin Tarnofsky, sided with U.S. Attorney's argument that Diddy posed a risk if he were to be released for home detention. She said, "I don't believe that counsel has the ability to control you, given the very significant concerns I have, particularly because of substance use and what seems like anger issues. The danger, I think, is quite serious," she added of Diddy's release, deciding that the bond package his team offered would not assure his return to court or the safety of the community or lack of witness tampering. In a September 17th letter to the judge arguing for Diddy to be jailed until he was brought to trial, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams claimed that his office has the testimony of dozens of witnesses and victims to his serial mistreatment and evidence from dozens of his own electronic devices and those of his co-conspirators. Investigators have taken in more than 90 cell phones, laptops, cloud storage accounts, as well as at least 30 storage devices. They issued more than 300 grand jury subpoenas to obtain this evidence from communication providers, tech and social media companies, financial institutions, and Diddy's companies. Prosecutors allegedly have dozens of videos depicting Diddy's so-called freak-offs that corroborate witness testimony. So it's safe to say that there's plenty of evidence that will keep Diddy in jail.
Starting off strong, we have Pam Anderson. Pam got her breakthrough role starring in the series Baywatch alongside David Hasselhoff. Back in the day, she made the front pages of newspapers, and she was the headline after it was announced that she would be marrying Tommy Lee from Motley Crue on a beach in Mexico after dating for just 4 days. They went on to have 2 sons before divorcing in 1998. Before the couple split, something pretty wild happened. So wild that there is now a TV series on Disney Plus documenting the scandal from start to finish. A former disgruntled worker broke into the safe in their home, which contained an over 1 hour long tape of the two of them getting busy. Anderson and Lee did everything they could to stop the tape from being released to the public, but the worker was able to get a distribution company and the tape was officially leaked. Anderson sued the company, but the tape was eventually digitalized and released online. At that point, there was nothing she could do. She has never seen it and she still has never made a dollar. Eventually, she got a hold of the employee, got everything settled, and the shenanigans were stopped. She got pregnant with her first child during this time, and she told the media outlets that she would no longer be going to court, no more dispositions from weird lawyers. Her career was not going super far after Baywatch. It's a decent show, but it is not an Oscar-worthy performance. Next up, we have Kim Kardashian. Only a couple of years after the whole Pam Anderson Tommy Lee tape leak, Kim Kardashian found herself in a similar situation with her boo at the time, Ray J. In October of 2002, the couple decided to go to Cabo, Mexico, taking a luxury vacation to a resort to celebrate Kim's 23rd birthday. They took a handheld camera with them and filmed themselves doing all kinds of wacky stuff, playing on the beach, chilling in the villa, getting busy in their hotel room. Those tapes remained a secret for 5 years before being sold to the X-rated video company Vivid Entertainment as a 41-minute movie featuring Kim Kardashian. Kim got wind, and much like Pamela Anderson, she attempted to sue the company. But here's where things get a little weird. So as we all know, this did not ruin her career, it somehow gave her a boost. Over the years, more and more information has come to the light, and so far it's looking like there's a really good chance that Kim herself leaked the video to get her name in the headlines. Her lawyer insisted that Kim had no knowledge of the leak and never does things to purposely get her name in the media. Kim denied everything over and over again and still does to this day. Kim was reportedly paid $5 million for the company to get permission to distribute the tape. That tape is still out there somewhere in the world. Then we have Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson, Hollywood has loved him, hated him, praised him, and disowned him for many reasons. Mel was accused of being a terrible partner, committing multiple acts of violence and mental manipulation. During their court proceedings following the announcement of their divorce, audio was leaked to the public as a conversation between Mel and his ex was brought into evidence. The audio contained a clear recording of Mel Gibson shouting at his ex, being a misogynistic jerk, and casually throwing around racial slurs during a tire that was launched against the mother of a 9-month-old child. He called her a bunch of really awful names that I cannot repeat and honestly do not deserve to be repeated. Mel went off, and I truly had to stop reading the script from the trial because it was just so messed up. This dude is evil and vile and has zero control of his own emotions. There was a massive debate between Mel and the court crew on what could be done about this and who leaked the audio. He then blamed Jewish people for being behind the plot. This dude has been in like no movies since the audio was leaked, apart from Daddy's Home 2 and something about Santa. It's safe to say he ruined his own career and there was no one else to blame. Following that up, we have David Hasselhoff, yet another Baywatch member on the list. It's unfortunate to see a big 90s star go down the drain. His career was already slow going, seeing as his roles weren't as big or as successful, but when his daughter captured a video of him at his worst, it was even harder to watch. David and his family have all said that he's had issues with drinking and overdoing it. However, he did say he was going to quit and had been doing fairly well for a while too, until his daughter caught him on camera lying shirtless on the floor of his hotel room, very aggressive aggressively eating a burger and cussing her out. She then released the tape onto the internet to show people how bad he had really gotten, and hoped that because the world knew how bad it was, it would convince him to do better. It was actually David's idea to have her film too, so that to see himself when he knew he wouldn't remember it in the morning. So while his career was already careening, people saw who he was at that point in time and haven't seen him the same since. Next is Michael Richards. His career began to take off starring as Cosmo Kramer in Seinfeld, and basically ended when he was fired as an executive producer of Jeopardy! But there was some moments in between that put every single nail in the coffin. It started back in 2006 when he went on an extremely racist tangent during the Laugh Factory when colored members of the audience were heckling him. No one found that funny. But he did have a chance to change this. In fact, Jerry Seinfeld himself requested that David Letterman bring him onto the late night show so that he could formally apologize for his explosive rant. Well, he didn't really apologize. He just kind of rambled and glossed over the apologies. The crowd kind of laughed because they thought it was a bit, when in reality, he just wasn't all there. There was a few more times where he was given the opportunity to publicly apologize, but all of them were at half effort and could barely even be considered an apology. His career ended fairly quickly, and he has been almost off the radar, even though it's been over 15 years since the incident. To follow that up, we have Shia LaBeouf. His career started when he was just a kid on the Disney show The Even Stevens, and he was also in the movie adaptation of Holes. When he was still young, he was also in Transformers, which became an instant hit. But like a lot of young actors, fame got to his head, and for the worst no less. In 2013, he got into a very heated argument with his co-star Alec Baldwin, and apparently he got a little physical with him, all over lines that he hadn't memorized. He also wore a paper bag over his head that said "I'm not famous anymore" to a red carpet event in 2014. He was arrested for smoking in a theater, and was arrested in Vancouver for trying to fight a bunch of locals while being heavily under the influence. He was also arrested at a bowling alley for causing a huge scene over french fries while intoxicated. He's also been accused a few different times by many people for being very violent towards them, two of which being previous relationships. His career ended very abruptly, and he just went down a really bad path in life. Following that, we have Tiger Woods. He was one of the most known golfers in the world. He won 3 career Grand Slams in the first 5 years of his career, and he was the youngest and fastest person to complete 50 tournament wins while on tour. His career was booming right from the start, but his career began to decline in 2008 when he had a major injury to his back and his game wasn't nearly as good. He was also arrested for a DUI charge, and in 2009 he was accused of cheating with many different people from a New York nightclub. When the news broke of this situation, he claimed he was taking an indefinite break from professional golf. There was a few minor things that happened between 2010 and 2016, but in 2017 he finally got the 4th surgery on his back that was supposed to help with the lingering pain. And just a few months after that, he was arrested for a DUI once again, after being found asleep at the wheel of his car and failing multiple sobriety tests. In 2021, he was in another almost fatal crash once again, and has finally been able to swing properly again, but knows his career will never be at the height it used to be. Second to last, we have Christian Bale. He played some really iconic roles, considering he was in Terminator Salvation, he was Batman in 2005, and he was in American Psycho, as well as many others. But one of his mental breaks while he was on set led him to being removed from roles, and that's why Hollywood stopped casting him as well. He's also known for being a method actor, so while filming American Psycho, he was described as incredibly intense, and made a lot of the crew members nervous as they didn't quite know how to interact with him. But the real stake in his career was when he screamed at crew members while being hooked up to a live mic. A member of the audio crew recorded him screaming at the other crew members and posted the video on YouTube with subtitles. He absolutely loses his cool for something rather small that could be fixed and reshot. That was where his career began to decline, and probably for good reason. And last but not least, we have Monica Lewinsky. She takes first place on the list because she had an affair with former President Bill Clinton back in the 90s, and was exposed to the world in 1998. This caused a legal investigation, recorded conversations that exposed them further. A long series of legal events happened, and she agreed to testify before the grand jury, and even handed over a blue dress that she claimed she wore while they were having one of their scandalous moments. Because of this, she was granted immunity and tried her best to go back to her normal life. She was hounded by paparazzi for a while afterwards as well, but ultimately just took a step back from everything and remained silent for years about the situation. In her TED Talk, she claims she regrets what happened, and that it is a constant reminder of her grave mistake, and she has not been able to fully recover since.
Undeniably, Hollywood icon Mel Gibson has faced significant public relations challenges since his 2006 arrest for an alleged DUI. Gibson was reportedly recorded making anti-Semitic remarks during his arrest in Malibu, California, leading to widespread criticism. In response to the controversy, Gibson sought rehabilitation and expressed deep remorse for his actions. But despite these efforts, many speculated his career was irreparably damaged. His reputation suffered another blow in 2010 when he was allegedly recorded using racist language by his then partner, Oksana Grigorieva. Following the leak, Gibson faced condemnation from civil rights and anti-domestic violence organizations. However, rumors of a career resurgence began to circulate. In 2017, Gibson reappeared at the Oscars as a nominee for Best Director. Even though his name was initially omitted from the Hacksaw Ridge movie poster, later The Hollywood Reporter revealed Gibson's plans to co-write and direct a remake of The Wild Bunch and a sequel to Passion of the Christ in 2020. Despite these controversies surrounding Gibson, there is no denying his talent and success in the film industry. As an actor, director, and producer, he's played a significant role in some of cinema's most iconic films such as Braveheart, Lethal Weapon, and Mad Max. On to the next! In 2007, a notorious video emerged featuring former Baywatch actor David Hasselhoff indulging in a cheeseburger, seemingly under the influence. Hasselhoff admitted to being a recovering alcoholic in a statement and explained, as quoted by The Hollywood Reporter, that the video was recorded by his daughters as a wake-up call. Although the incident haunted Hasselhoff for years, he chose to see the lighter side of it. In a conversation with Inside Edition, he stated that his daughters found humor in the situation. In 2015, Hasselhoff decided to poke fun at the incident in his mockumentary show Hoff the Record. His subsequent works include the 2016 film Baywatch, along with The Rock, and online show named Being David Hasselhoff. Despite his successful career and popularity, David faced a major career setback when he was fired from the popular reality show America's Got Talent. Hasselhoff, who had been a judge on the show since its inception in 2006, was reportedly let go due to concerns about his erratic behavior, possibly fueled by his publicly acknowledged struggles with alcoholism. The news of his departure was initially met with surprise and disappointment by fans who had come to appreciate his unique humor and candid critiques on the show. Now we're diving into a major controversy that rocked the world of basketball. Remember Donald Sterling, the previous owner of LA Clippers? Well, in 2014, he made some comments that cost him a lot. A tape was leaked, allegedly recorded by V. Stiviano, his rumored girlfriend, where Sterling reportedly instructed her to refrain from posting pictures with people of color on Instagram. He was quoted saying, "You can sleep with black men, bring them in, do whatever you want. All I ask is you don't promote it and don't bring them to my games." I mean, as we can all, I'm sure, assume, this led to a wave of backlash, with his team members protesting by wearing their warm-up tees out inside out, effectively hiding the team's logo. The Clippers lost numerous sponsorships, and Sterling faced strong criticism from several notable figures in the African American community, including President Barack Obama. Obama remarked, "When ignorant folks want to advertise their ignorance, you don't really have to do anything, just let them talk." That's what happened here. He expressed his faith in NBA Commissioner Adam Silver that he would handle that situation. The fallout from Sterling's comments was immense. He was forced to sell the LA Clippers for $2 billion, endured a fine of $2.5 million, and was banned for life from the NBA. As of 2017, Sterling and his wife were trying to reverse the ban. In 2016, Michael Richards, also recognized as Kramer from the hit TV show Seinfeld, was performing at the Laugh Factory when he was heckled by an audience member who happened to be of African American descent. What transpired next shocked everyone present. According to TMZ, Richards lost his cool, responding with a racially charged outburst that lasted 3 minutes, in which he shouted, "Throw him out. Look, there's a..." Richards later made a public apology on The Late Show with David Letterman, expressing remorse for his uncontrolled outburst on stage and assuring everyone he was not a racist. Sounds like something a racist would say. family. The incident had a significant impact on Richards, who has since then kept a low profile, reflecting on the incident years later on Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars with Coffee. Richards expressed regret over his behavior, acknowledging that he should have stayed focused on entertaining the audience rather than lashing out in anger. He admitted, "I think I worked selfishly and not selflessly. It's not about me, it's about the audience. Now that's a lesson I learned 7 years ago when I blew it in the comedy club and lost my temper." In the years following the incident, Richards has largely stayed out of the public eye, as he should. Next up, Transformers star Shia LaBeouf is no stranger to encounters with the law, but one incident in particular came at an extraordinary cost. LaBeouf's 2017 arrest in Savannah, Georgia for disorderly conduct and public intoxication brought him significant attention when a video of him hurling abuses at a police officer went viral. This resulted in a court-ordered 10-week rehab stint. The following year, in an interview with Esquire, he revealed that a series of arrests, erratic public behavior, and personal issues related to PTSD had left him marginalized in Hollywood. He said, "I'm run out. No one's giving me a shot right now." Despite these setbacks, LaBeouf remained steadfast in his determination to revive his career. His co-star from The Peanut Butter Falcon, Zachary Goetz-Sagan, was instrumental in this journey. LaBeouf recounts a conversation where Zachary, who has Down syndrome, told him, "You're already famous, this is my chance and you're ruining it." Reflecting on this, LaBeouf admitted, "To hear him say that he was disappointed in me probably changed the course of my life." He praised Goetz-Sagan's honesty, saying, "Zach can't not shoot straight, and bless him for it, cause in that moment I needed a straight shooter who I couldn't argue with." LaBeouf's performance in The Peanut Butter Falcon received critical acclaim, with critics labeling it as his comeback role. Next, the golfing legend Tiger Woods found himself in the spotlight back in 2009, and not for his golf prowess, but for a scandal involving his marital life. It was reported that Ellen Nordegren, Woods' wife at the time, chased him out of their home with a golf club upon discovering his infidelity. In a leaked voicemail that emerged shortly after, Woods could be heard pleading with the woman, as reported by the New York Post, to remove her name from her phone. This was seemingly an attempt to prevent Nordegren from contacting her. Following the scandal, Woods confessed to having extramarital affairs with roughly 120 women. The fallout was immense, leading to a divorce from Nordegren, a drastic decline in his golf performance, and the loss of significant endorsements, among them Nike. Woods later sought treatment for sex addiction. 10 years would pass before Woods would clinch another major championship, winning the Masters in 2019. Tiger Woods is widely recognized as one of the greatest golfers in history, with numerous major championship wins under his belt. However, his reputation took a hit with that infidelity news. The scandal rocked the sports world and brought attention to the issue of extramarital affairs among athletes. In 1998, a huge controversy swept the nation when Monica Lewinsky, former White House intern, found herself at the heart of a scandal. Her ex-friend Linda Tripp had secretly recorded their private calls and handed these tapes over to the FBI. These recordings suggested that Lewinsky had been involved in an affair with the then President Bill Clinton, sparking a media storm that left a lasting impact on Lewinsky's career, but obviously not Clinton's. Christian Bale, the renowned actor, found himself in a precarious situation during the filming of Terminator Salvation. A leaked recording captured him in a heated argument with the film's director of photography, who had unintentionally intruded on a scene. Bale, lost in a tirade of expletives, demanded the DP to be dismissed from the set. Following the leak, the actor issued a public apology on LA's K-Rock radio station, admitting his behavior was unjustifiable and acknowledging that he had behaved poorly. Bale explained that his outburst resulted from being deeply committed to his character, having blurred the lines between reality and fiction. However, his sister expressed concern about his behavior, referencing a previous incident where he had a similar outburst in front of her family. While Bale continues to feature in critically acclaimed films, such incidents have raised eyebrows and led to speculation about his future in the industry. Okay, in an episode of her podcast, Broad Ideas, Rachel shares a deeply personal story about a recent professional setback she faced. She opens up about a peculiar circumstance where her candid conversation about her private life, specifically aspects of her sex life, led to an unexpected job loss. Surprisingly, this open and honest dialogue about sex resulted in her losing a job she had already secured. She described that as the first time she encountered such a situation in her professional career.
Number 10. James Charles. James was a popular makeup YouTuber before allegations were made against him in 2021, with several young men claiming that James had communicated with them inappropriately. The first accusations came from a fan who claims that James sent them explicit messages and photos when they were just 16. James claimed that the fan misled him into believing that he was an adult and blocked them as soon as he discovered their actual age. However, that one fan inspired several fans to come forward with similar stories. James later posted a now deleted video on YouTube called Holding Myself Accountable, during which he apologized for his desperate behavior and admitted to messaging 2 of the men. 2 out of like 20 people, so just saying, 2 is still too many. After the news went viral, his YouTube channel was demonetized, he lost all of his subscribers, stopped hosting the mini-series Instant Influencer, and severed ties with makeup brand Morphe, which he had basically become the spokesperson for. James took a break from producing content for about 5 minutes before posting a video called an open conversation that summer. Not even a full year, he just waited until another season popped up. Number 9. Sebastian Bales. Sebastian Bales was a very popular YouTube content creator and TikTok man, but their videos aimed at a younger audience went from lighthearted to dark and disturbing. Sebastian, along with his partner in crime Lauren Godwin, posted several videos together over the years, usually being a vlog, but sometimes Sebastian liked to pull little pranks on Lauren. His career was over thanks to 2 so-called pranks that he posted in 2019. The first saw Sebastian pretending to leave Lauren for a life in the army, wearing one of the most store-bought looking uniforms you have ever seen in your life. Now, while much lighter than the next video I'm going to talk about, the content received major backlash from fans as many had parents or siblings in the military and they didn't appreciate Sebastian treating that position as a joke. But it was his next video that really put the icing on that bad guy cake. Seb and Lauren thought it would be really funny to fake one of the worst things that you could do to a person, pressuring your partner into physical lovemaking without their consent. The video is disturbing and I'm not gonna get deep into it, but you can imagine just how disgusted the internet was with this man, who looks like an orange creamsicle with the top bitten off of it. He made an apology video and deleted this video by moving it to private so it still exists, but the internet collectively cancelled his channel. Number 8. I Show Speed. Darren Watkins, better known by his YouTube handle I Show Speed, made headlines last week after he exposed his little dinghy on a live stream. The rapper and media influencer had just returned from a trip to Japan and fans tuned in excitement to see him return to their gaming world and watched as he played around Five Nights at Freddy's. When he was startled by a character, he stood up to yell, only for his pants to just fall right down. He sat down and immediately closed the live stream. His account, which had millions of subscribers, was frozen and it underwent a review from the powers that be. Following the slew of negative comments that he received online, he went on an anger-filled rant in another stream, telling his fans to stop talking and shouting a lot of F words that I'm not allowed to say online. You know, the ones that rhyme with maggot and bucker. Twitter has since lit up with comments from people asking why they're being blamed for him not knowing how pants work. The most recent news is that his channel will not be banned despite his blatant violation of their guidelines, but considering the amount of hate that this dude is currently receiving online, I cannot imagine his channel will be very active for very long. Number 7. Ravana. Vegan blogging is a big business on YouTube. Numerous creators have been able to make a huge living off of plant-based diets. Many actually make their subscribers pay a little bit of a fee to gain insight into recipes and routines not normally shared in their videos. One of these women, Ravana, had a massive following and would make her subscribers pay $70 to gain access to their diet plan. She had a massive empire, but it was all built on lies, and in 2019 she decided to order a fish at a restaurant and was outed by a fellow influencer. Ravana was in Bali at the time, thinking that she was just out for a good time with her fellow content creator Paula Galindo, who started live streaming at the dinner table. Yeah, the internet quickly filled her channel with negative comments and dubbed her Fishvana, and just like that, her empire was gone. Number 6. Colleen Ballinger. Colleen was best known for her character Miranda Sings on YouTube, who became so popular that she received her own Netflix series. However, it turns out that she's a creepy creepo who really needs to have her phone taken away by an adult. She was basically messaging her fans to deliver so-called advice when she was actually trying to manipulate them into being her little minions. There was a massive amount of proof in the pudding. Fans had screenshots of conversations, with one person claiming that she sent them lingerie as a joke. Somebody call Netflix, we've got a new special right here. Following instant backlash from the world, Colleen decided to post an apology online, and she did apologize while playing a ukulele. After this woman is shown to be weird to kids, she thought it was appropriate to go online and sing a little ditty about it. In response to the cringiest apology of all time, her fans collectively tapped out and unsubscribed from her channel. Colleen now only exists in the suppressed memories of her young fans. Number 5. Logan Paul. Logan Paul, a man now known as a WWE superstar, was once a famous YouTuber. With millions of subscribers, his channel's popularity quickly skyrocketed in the early 2010s, until one day Logan and his friends decided to go to a famous forest in Japan to film a camping challenge. A forest that is unfortunately famous for the tragedies that take place there. In fact, many lives have ended in that forest, and most were self-inflicted. While venturing into the forest, Logan and his crew spot a recently deceased individual just hanging from from a tree, and instead of alerting the authorities and cutting the cameras, he acted like it was the wildest thing he had ever seen in his life, all while wearing a hat that looked like one of the little green guys from Toy Story. He actually shouted at the body asking if it was okay or if they were just fooling with them. They stood there filming for like 30 minutes before finally leaving the forest, but the video was not demonetized and it received massive backlash. At the beginning and end of the clip, he urges any viewer suffering from mental health issues to seek help, blatantly trying to exploit the situation. Many viewers felt traumatized by the video and began drowning his channel with negative comments. If you want proof that this guy is a 12-year-old mentally speaking, just watch his apology video. He released an apology where he claimed to face a monsoon of negativity and that he doesn't do it for views, he just gets them, and he actually spent a good chunk of that video just sadly telling people how popular he was. Needless to say, nobody cared for that apology and his YouTube career was in the dumps. But the WWE loves problematic people, so he was brought into the ring with open arms. Number 4. Sam Pepper. Prank channels used to be massive on YouTube, but like reality TV star turned YouTuber Sam Pepper, they're old news. Pepper was once a star, gaining millions of views for his pranks. His videos often pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable, but in 2014 he finally crossed a line. He uploaded a video called Fake Hand Bum Pinch Prank, in which he literally just touched unsuspecting women in an inappropriate fashion. The backlash was swift and heated. The YouTuber claimed that the prank was part of a large social experiment meant to highlight the difference between violence towards men and violence towards women, but nobody bought that for a second. In fact, a fellow YouTuber, Tyler Oakley, tweeted, "If you're a horrible person, just claim it was a social experiment. Then it's everyone else's problem if they're offended." Pepper went on to claim that the video was staged, but it was far too late. His career was in tatters. That is a fun word. Multiple women came forward claiming they'd been subjected to unwanted physical advances from Pepper off camera. In an ill-advised attempt to bounce back, he uploaded a video in which he pranked Vine star Sam Golback by pretending to abduct him and his friend. And in that video, Pepper staged an execution, leaving Golback in clear distress. It backfired spectacularly. He was branded a disgrace to the YouTube community by Cole Ledford, and unsurprisingly, Pepper is now YouTube history. Number 3. Anthony Fantano. Fantano started out as a music reviewer in 2007, and his channel garnered fame after posting earnest covers of songs by Man and the Mountain Goats, which is just a weird name and I can't believe they exist. But as his channel garnered more and more popularity, his ideas on the world became more and more ridiculous. While he gained his fame on the channel Needle Drop, it was the spin-off channel That Is the Plan that landed him in hot water. He posted dense videos taking aim at feminism, the Black Lives Matter movement, and of course, social justice warriors. After several attempts to contact his channel by media outlets, Fantano canceled his channel and claimed that it was due to YouTube's strict rules not letting him monetize his work. Suspiciously though, he had just released a video so chock full of garbage that there was no way he was gonna get away with it. Now, whether that's true or not, his main channel was still very active and he received massive backlash online. Hey man, you can't call people out if you don't expect them to clap back. Number 2. Nicole Arbor. NBA cheerleader turned YouTube comedian Nicole Arbor has been pushing the boundaries of bad taste for a very long time. In 2015, the internet pushed back. The Canadian content creator posted a video called Dear Fat People, which appeared to mock overweight folks for views. She claimed that fat shaming was not real and that it was an issue created by overweight people. Angry responses followed on YouTube in the and just in the media overall, with several women coming forward to call her claims rude, misguided, and disgusting. Numerous outlets reported that Arbor was fired from her role as a choreographer on the anti-bullying dance film Don't Talk to Irene as a result of her harmful video. Though she refuted these claims at the time and continues to deny them to this day. Whether she was fired from that film or not, one thing is for sure, Dear Fat People took any chances that she had of making her comedy a mainstream and just tossed it in the trash. And at number 1, Trisha Paytas. She's been described as a jack-of-all-trades celebrity by The Telegraph. But Trisha Paytas was best known for her YouTube channel. She didn't hold back in her videos, and that's the main reason she was able to amass millions of subscribers over the years. She shed a chunk of those subscribers, however, in early 2019 when she got drawn into a drama with Ethan Klein of H3H3 Productions. According to Yahoo! It all started when Klein criticized Paytas for looking unrecognizable in her Instagram photos, shining a spotlight on the culture of over-editing. Paytas went off on Klein in a series of tweets calling him a disgusting piece of S, and then proceeding to make a retaliation video that backfired on her massively as she lost 55,000 subscribers as a result. That wasn't the video that killed her career though. In October 2019, Paytas appeared to hammer the final nail into her own coffin when she released a video titled "I am trans, male to female." In it, she makes a series of contradictory and ill-informed claims telling viewers that she identifies as a gay man but also is 1000% her natural born identity. I don't know. The backlash was swift, with numerous people accusing her of jumping all over trans issues for views. She 100% did. She apologized and claims that there was no ill will behind the videos, but Paytas had simply gone too far this time and her career was rightfully over.